2019 analysts are predicting that next year we'll get iPhones that are sporting USB-C instead of Lightning. No. That's not what they said at all. That's not even kind of what the reports were saying. And the saddest thing about all this is that I made almost the exact same point last year. But before you get your hopes too high, no, I don't think next year the iPhones will be adopting USB-C. Do not put words in my mouth though. I am completely pro USB-C. I think it is the last port. In fact, I would really like it if Apple did adopt USB-C on the iPhones because I'm an adaptable guy. I don't mind buying new cables or buying new chargers if it does result in a better experience, better charging, more universal use for our cables, which, let's be honest, if iPhones adopted USB-C, it would mean that now all of a sudden all of these Android phones coming out could also charge iPhones. For the first time, we'd have one charge cable that could work across all different types of smartphones and laptops and computers. I would love to see that happen, but Apple, I think, is far closer to just ditching ports entirely. The reason they haven't switched to USB-C yet, and believe me, they've had plenty of chances to, is because they have such a universal standard now with Lightning cables that switching them over just means they're going to get a bunch of people upset. They're not going to make as much money because when third parties use their Apple Lightning port, Apple gets more money out of that. Whether or not you're an Apple sheep like me or you hate Apple, you cannot deny that Apple continuing to use Lightning means that they make more money, and they are, after all, a business. And since they're so popular, they still can continue to use their own cable and ask other companies to use their standard. Absolutely no denying that. But also, we have so many accessories between chargers and even Beats X headphones that charge via Lightning, accessories, adapters, dongles, all these things that have already adopted to Lightning that Apple, I think, is not really waiting for what's the next best port that we can switch our iPhones to. Their idea of that is Qi charging, or the type of charging that AirPower will allow for, if AirPower ever happens. Maybe it won't. But Apple's ultimate quest is still, I think, to kill all wires, and they've been tackling this with the wireless headphones, abandoning headphone jacks on the iPhone lineup, and with Apple's grand vision, I don't really see why they would see the need to switch to USB-C because it physically can be a larger port on the device itself, which means manufacturing, if anything, might get a little bit more difficult for iPhones. They'll get a whole crowd of angry people that'll say, what, I can't use my old Lightning chargers anymore? But then they'll keep asking you to charge your AirPods with Lightning, your Apple TV remote with Lightning, bizarrely your Magic Mouse and Magic Trackpad and Magic Keyboard with Lightning. They've adopted this standard too far that I think it really makes no sense to back out. Otherwise, things are going to be very complicated for the ecosystem, even more so than it already is, given MacBook buyers cannot use the included cables to plug their iPhone into their MacBook if they want to charge it. I do agree, that is kind of stupid. The reports we were getting from analysts, though, was not iPhones will adopt USB-C. It was more specifically, Apple is going to be including USB-C equipped cables in future iPhone packages, and that means many different things. You could take that in many different ways, but primarily, the way you should take it is that they're probably including fast chargers in maybe this year or maybe 2019 smartphones, where they have an 18-watt charge brick, a USB-C cable, but the other end of that cable is still Lightning, so you can charge your phone faster, and you won't have to buy that cable separately, which would be great because that's a very expensive cable, especially from Apple. That's what I hope happens because I think it's ridiculous they're still shipping Lightning to old-style USB cables with $1,000 iPhones, and with this year, potentially $1,200 iPhones. Are those really going to ship with old-style USB and Lightning, especially since Apple is so pro-USB-C, right? Abandoning the old-style USB port on the MacBook Pro, yet including old-style USB ports for iPhone chargers and even iMac Pro accessory chargers. What the heck? It seems so scattered right now in the lineup that I don't really see where they're going with this. I thought the mindset could be iPads, iPhones, those use Lightning, but the iMacs, the MacBooks, those use USB-C, but Magic Keyboard, Magic Mouse are still adopting Lightning. It's just very confusing overall, and I think they'd be better off with just adopting USB-C on all the cables they include with their packages, just so that if people do need to plug things in, they can have them just work, which is what people buy Apple products for. So Apple's trying to look at this from the big picture, and while we're techies here on YouTube, we could completely understand Apple switching to USB-C on iPhones because we could say, great, now all of my USB-C cables will now charge those. And I can charge my phone and my MacBook and my iPad all with the same charger. I think that would be great. I would be happy to make that switch. I'd be happy to ditch Lightning and say, you know what? It's been too long. We don't need Lightning anymore. But just by looking at the ecosystem as it is, as we have this big problem between which ports are universal and which ports can be used with which computer, Apple's so scattered as it is, I don't think they want to scatter things even further by making all of your your old lightning chargers useless for your iPhone. I think they would rather keep pushing Qi charging, which more and more is being adopted by other smartphones available on the market, meaning that if you have a Qi charger, you can charge your Galaxy S9 and your iPhone 10 with that same charge plate, and I think that's what Apple is heading towards. I think the lightning port is just kind of an extra thing they have on there for people who aren't doing the portless challenge yet. By the way, still been doing the portless challenge. It's going fine. Haven't even noticed that it's really a challenge. I just have Qi chargers around my apartment and my office, and I drop my phone on them. It's as simple as that. But personally, if you ask me, I would have included a fast charging USB-C to lightning cable when you bought an iPhone 10. I even would have been okay with it costing a bit more if it was a better package overall, because I think a lot of the criticisms that came from the iPhone 10 was, you're including a slow charge brick, you're including this old cable that doesn't work with my new MacBook Pro, yet I'm paying $1,000. I think it would have been more acceptable for people if the iPhone 10 was more like $1,100, but included a fast charger, or maybe make it even more money, make it even more premium, just to separate the differences between the 8 Plus and the 10, because right now, price-wise, they're pretty close, and that's why I think more people will just go for the 10 anyway. Distant the price between them, and then make the really premium iPhone 10 package that includes AirPods, maybe includes a wireless charger and a fast charger. That way, people will say, man, this iPhone's really, really expensive, but you get quite a complete package with it. I know plenty of you disagree with me on that, but I think that would have resulted in less criticisms overall, rather than including really, really cheap accessories with an iPhone that's supposed to be the future, supposed to be wireless, yet includes a lightning pair of earpods. I just think is hypocritical. So again, to recap, I would love for there to be USB-C on my iPhone. I would totally adopt to that, but Apple's looking at a big picture and knows that every time they change the port, they get a large amount of ticked off people, and they're already trying to deal with people who don't like Face ID, don't like the notch, and I think people are already upset as it is, especially with the new prices, that Apple needs to focus on tackling all those arguments, and in the meantime, they're just probably going to ask you to keep using your lightning cables. Will the other end of that cable that comes with your iPhone be USB-C or not? That's what we can hope for. The same rumors spread last year that the iPhone 10 would adopt USB-C and it would come with a fast charger. It ended up not happening, so that's why I'm not getting too excited about this, because Apple's just been known to not include the best deals with their products. But either way, I'd be happy with either. I'm just really, really sick of having lightning to old-fashioned USB cables in our 2018, 2017 products, when in 2016, Apple released Macintosh computers that don't even have that port. Come on, Apple. This is kind of silly. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Am I wrong about this? Will iPhones actually adopt USB-C this year? All that good stuff, let me know in the comments below. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.